Welcome back. In this final module, we'll delve into server monitoring. We'll cover performance counters, event logs, and even get into a troubleshooting session, all using PowerShell. So let's dig in. By leveraging PowerShell, you can collect and analyze key server performance metrics to identify bottlenecks. PowerShell also makes it easy to query event logs, whether on demand or on a schedule. With metrics and logs combined, you can then build real-time health monitoring to be notified of issues immediately. Overall, PowerShell gives you increased visibility into your server environment. Your team has been asked to investigate occasional performance issues with a critical internal web application used across your organization. Users have reported sluggish response times and timeouts during peak usage periods. You need to monitor the web server's CPU utilization over time to identify any CPU spikes that could be contributing to the problem. I'm on my SRV1 server via PowerShell remoting. This is the server the web app is running on. Let's investigate and see what's going on. So first up, let's start by checking the current CPU utilization on the server just to get a baseline. To do that, I'll use getCounter. getCounter allows you to query any performance counter by providing a counter name. In this instance, I'm querying the total processor utilization time across all processors. Now, if you don't know the counter name offhand, you can also use the list set parameter and use a wildcard on the list set parameter's value. So I was able to find all of the different counter sets by running getCounter, providing that asterisk on the list set parameter, and then I'm piping that to select object and only showing the counter set name and all paths associated with that counter, since it does return a whole lot of information by default. Anyway, let's get back to our CPU usage issue. We run this again to get this back on the screen. Looks like it is in the process of high CPU utilization. You see one processor is 53%, the other one is 33%, and the other one is 43%. So it looks like it is experiencing CPU load right now. Run this again. There we go, 98, 96, 97. So right now it's happening, but it happens sporadically. Let me run this consistently so I don't have to keep running it manually using the continuous parameter. And there we go. Now it's back to normal. It's about 0%. Whenever we were looking at it, we saw the high CPU utilization happen, but now it's back to 0%. Right now I have a real-time look at that CPU percentage metric. Based on what the users report, I'd wager it's probably a scheduled task because it's at a certain interval, or maybe it's some service kicking off too frequently. Let's check on the scheduled tasks that are on the server. I'm using getScheduledTask to do that. I'm going to check in the root because that's where the user-created tasks are always created. There's an oddly suspicious looking scheduled task in there, but I'm not quite sure that's the one just yet. Let's see how often that one runs. I can use getScheduledTaskInfo to see more information about that. And it looks like it was last run around the time we saw that increased CPU usage. The next runtime is also a minute after that. It's by the minute. That's exactly what the users have been saying. I think we've found the scheduled task that runs every minute. So let's disable that task and see what happens. I can do that by just piping the scheduled task directly to the disable scheduled task command, and that should disable it. So right now it's running. Let's check it again. I believe it only runs for about 30 seconds. There we go. Yep, as soon as it got done running, it's automatically disabled. Now it won't even run again. Now that the scheduled task is disabled, I can run getCounter again with the continuous parameter. And now I'll monitor this for like a minute and a half or something to see what happens. And if this CPU does a spike, I think we found the issue. Well, over a minute has went by and no CPU spike. I think we found the culprit. So in this demo, we covered how to monitor processor performance counters live to pinpoint issues. getCounter and streaming it with the continuous parameter are invaluable tools in your monitoring arsenal.